Welcome back, friends. Today I have for you 33 Valentine's Day beautiful DIY crafts. Can't wait to show you. Let's get to it. On a recent trip to Dollar Tree, I found these heart-shaped wreath forms. They're perfect for Valentine's Day, but I think they're good for any other part of spring. So I'm going to take one of them and I'm going to wrap it up with this beautiful burlap green ribbon from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use the entire roll. I was hoping it'd be enough to cover the entire thing, but it wasn't. And then I didn't have any more on hand at least. And I didn't want to go back to Dollar Tree. So we're just going to wrap it around as tight as I can, covering the entire wreath form. And then I'm going to take some neutral color burlap ribbon and I'm just going to finish off in the area where we didn't have enough. All right, so I'm going to attach, like I said, the neutral color burlap just all around that little area. Now, you're not going to be able to see it because we're going to cover it up with some florals, but I wish I would have had enough so it's just nice and even. But it's okay. It worked out in the end. So I'm just going to secure it in the back with some hot glue, and then we're going to add some florals. These are some florals that I got from my mother-in-law for Christmas. I love when she gives me some floral picks because she knows that I love to craft with them. I'm going to cut off some excess stems and we're just going to start placing them here and there in between on that upper right corner of the heart. I'm going to clip a little hole on this one just so that I can get that stem right in there with some hot glue and it's not going to go anywhere. I'm going to fluff it and bend it as needed so that it has the shape of the heart. And then I'm going to add some picks here and there, some single ones, just to kind of fill it in and on those gaps that you can see a lot of that ribbon. And then we're going to bring in some cute little pink flowers that I also got from my mother-in-law for Christmas. We're just going to start adding hot glue and placing them all in that kind of like center area, moving towards the bottom and the top wherever it needs it. And we're just about done with this one, friends. What a beautiful combination of these colors. It's definitely one of my favorites from today. I love the natural look. And I love that it's not a traditional Valentine's Day decor. What do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. I'm going to start with this planked board. This is another one of those new finds that I found at my Dollar Tree. I removed the jute string and I'm just going to give it one coat of Waverly chalk paint in the white. I'm just going to do one because I am going to eventually distress it, so I'm not looking for full coverage. Once it was dry, it's looking nice and pretty, we are going to use this mesh reusable stencil from A Maker Studio. I've used this in the past. They are wonderful. They are sticky on one side and they work just like a sticker. You press them after you remove the backing from it, and once you had it where you want it, you're just going to want to use either paint, or in this case, I'm going to use A Maker Studio's gel art ink to stencil it. I'm going to use the squeegee and I'm just going to start spreading it. So you just want to spread it and remove any excess as you go. I do have a link down below in the description box so you can always find these items if you would like to try them. So once I had it nice and stenciled, we're going to remove the top and look how gorgeous this looks. And it's so easy. All right, so we're going to put that to the side and we are going to take this wooden love sign that I found at Dollar Tree. They are really cute. They come two in a pack and I'm going to give it one coat of Waverly chalk paint in the agave tone. Now I'm going to bring in the board. It's nice and dry. I'm going to distress it as I mentioned earlier. Just going to use my electric sander, distress it a little bit on the middle section and a lot heavier in the edges. And then we're just going to dust it and clean it, making sure it's dust free. I'm going to bring in a couple of these hooks that I do get on Amazon, and I do have on my Amazon store along with a lot of my favorite Amazon items that you can find the link to in the description box. I'm going to add a couple to the top, 2 inches away from the edge. When I added them, I realized that it split my board because it's not real wood. It's more of an MDF board. I did have to fill it in with some wood filler just to make sure it looks nice and neat, but it is still a strong hold and the board is not too heavy, so it worked out. I'm going to attach the love right onto the bottom right corner of the board just using hot glue. Here is the first bead ring that we're going to use. Oh, this one is gorgeous. It's black. They measure 10 by 10. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up one of the little loops on one end, separate them. Then I'm going to thread it through one of the hooks first. Then I'm going to bring it over to the other side and just kind of measure kind of where I want to see the little hanging handle to go to, cut it using my wire cutters, and then just curl the one end using my pliers. That way we can hang it on the other side. So simple. I'm going to use some of this boxwood and I'm just going to hot glue it to the left side of the board. That way it just fills it in, adds a little bit more texture. And then I'm going to add a couple of flowers, just these little white ones to cover up the glue section. And that's it for this one. It's one of my favorites. I love the background and I love that bead hanging string. Just gorgeous. Dollar Tree hack. I'm going to take this Love Lives Here wood round sign from Dollar Tree. I'm going to remove everything from it and I'm going to sand down all the glitter that's on top. You can find these pretty much in every season. This one happens to be in their Valentine's collection. Once I had it nice and sanded, I'm going to dust it off and wipe it really, really well. I'm going to spray adhesive, some craft paper. So I'm going to spray it on top. And this craft paper came from a bundle book that I got at, I believe it was Hobby Lobby. And I place it right in the center. And then I'm going to use my rotary cutter to cut off the excess paper. And that way I have a nice smooth edge. To make it even smoother, I am going to sand down those edges using my sanding block from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to do it in a downward motion. This is going to make sure that it's going to be even smoother. Here's the third set of beads that I'm going to use. I love this one. It has that natural wood color. I'm going to use for this one a combination of hot glue and more permanent glue so that I can have a nice strong hold. Once I had it, I'm just going to flip it over and place it right there. Super cute and so easy. All right, so then it's time to bring in some greenery. This is just a combination of a few greeneries that I already had on hand. I'm going to start hot gluing it to the top. All right, so I just continue to add some greenery and then I'm going to add some pink flowers. I think it really complements the design overall of the sign. So I'm just going to add 3 of them right in the center of all the greenery. Now we need something to hang it from. So I'm going to use some of this burlap ribbon and I'm just going to hot glue it to the back. It's kind of thick. I wish I had a thinner one. And I guess I could have cut it in half, but I didn't think about it till now. So I'm just going to hot glue it. And then I'm also going to add some duct tape. And this is just going to add more security. And it's also kind of just make it a little bit cleaner in the back. And I got to say, this was one of my favorites. I love the design. And that bead ring around the edge is just so stunning. I love the natural wood color and the colors just complement each other. This is part of the summer collection boards from Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut off the little sailing boat from the top. And I'm just doing the little technique that I usually use, which is scoring, snapping, and then sanding smooth for a smooth finish. Once I had it where I wanted, I'm just going to give it a couple of coats of Waverly chalk paint in the white. And then while that is drying, I'm going to take some cardboard. The cardboard that I have is from a box from a tool that we got during the Christmas season. It is very thick and is very durable. I loved it. This little wooden heart came from the Target dollar spot. I only have one, so I'm going to use it as my guide to trace it 3 times on the cardboard. And then I'm going to cut the hearts out. I'm going to use a blade knife that I recently got on Amazon. It is fantastic. The shape of it, the angle that it has for your hand, and how sharp it is phenomenal for doing crafts with cardboard. And I do have it on my Amazon store. I'm going to take some of this crafting paper and I'm just going to adhere it with some adhesive spray onto each heart. Then using an X-Acto knife, I'm just going to cut off the excess paper as close as possible to the cardboard. Once I had them nice and cut, we are going to cover those edges with some nautical rope from Dollar Tree. That way you're not going to see the cardboard portion on the sides. You can also paint them if you don't have any rope, or you can use ribbon if you have ribbon instead. I am making sure that I am starting and ending the rope at the top of each heart. That way we can cover it with some string here in a little bit because I want to add a little cute bows using some jute string. I'm going to wrap it around my fingers and I'm just going to roll it around a few times, and then I'm going to kind of just join it in the center and join it with some jute string. And then we're going to hot glue it to the top of each heart after we fan out the little loops a little bit. I wanted to add a little flower to each, so I'm going to grab these little white ones that I already had on hand. I'm going to cut off the little excess stem from the bottom and hot glue them to the bottom of each bow. And then it's time to simply attach the hearts to the whiteboard that we painted earlier. Basically, I'm just going to line them up vertically, but you can also do it horizontally. I think this would look good either way. I'm going to just kind of stack them in a color scheme that kind of looks good. And then I'm just going to hot glue it together. Because they're made out of cardboard, they stick really well with hot glue, one on top of each other. And then I'm just going to add a more nautical rope to the back. This is so that we can hang it. You can also hot glue a sawtooth hook if you prefer, but I think the nautical rope really just pulls everything together. And I love this one. I put it first because it is so cute. It is just springy and feminine. I just love the way it looks. For this next Dollar Tree craft, I'm going to take one of these little Valentine's Day craft signs from Dollar Tree. I'm going to remove the little plaque from it and the jute string. And then we're going to take some of these dusting mops from Dollar Tree. One of them I already used for another project, but we're going to use the large one first. We're just going to hot glue it right on top. Very easy. You've seen me use these dusting mops before. They just add a lot of texture and coziness to any decor, any craft you make. Then I'm going to add the other piece right next to it. Once I add it, I'm just kind of fluff it in the middle so they kind of join together and you would never know that they were two separate pieces. Just like magic. I'm going to flip it over and I'm just going to cut the X's all around the heart. I'm not going to lie, you know this is messy, but take your time, be patient, and just trim here and there where you need it until you have what you want. I'm going to take this little beautiful peony from Amazon. I get them in bundles, and this is a beautiful pink. I'm going to use some other ones towards the end of the video, but this one we're just going to hot glue right there towards the right side of the heart. And I'm just going to move the leaves around until I kind of know where I want them and then hot glue them in place. Instead of just leaving them wherever they fell, I just felt like it just needed to be moved around just a little bit. I'm going to add these tiny little flowers. I think I got these at home if I'm not mistaken. Just going to take 3. 2 to the right side and 1 to the left side. So dainty, so pretty. I thought it needed something else. I found this jute and pink kind of ribbon. I want to say it was maybe Dollar General, but it could be Dollar Tree. I'm going to make a very simple ball. Just loop it in the center, scrunch it, tie with a jute string, and then hot glue it underneath the flower. I think this just added just enough touch of that ribbon to make it very cool. And then I'm going to add a small little jute string to the back, secure with hot glue as well as some duct tape, and that's it for this one. It's such an easy craft. I love the background. I love that it's so fluffy and bright, and that pink flower is just the perfect amount of color. Beautiful. Every day I got your back, yeah, you can count on me for that. The next Dollar Tree craft, I'm going to take this love sign from Dollar Tree and I'm going to remove the jute string as well as the little wreath that it came with it. Although it's very pretty as it is, it's not quite my style, so I'm going to judge it up just a little bit. I'm going to remove the glue and just sand it down quite a bit just to kind of make sure any glue that's there would be removed. After I wiped it very well, I'm going to give it 2 coats of Waverly chalk paint in the white. And there you have it, nice and dry and bright. Now I'm going to bring in the same ribbon from earlier and we are going to trace the L, the V, and the E of the sign. And I'm just going to kind of measure, cut, and hot glue as needed. Friends, as always, I would love to connect with you on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. And I have those links down below in the description box. Make sure you check them out when you're done watching. So as you can see, it's very easy to do this and you can use any ribbon you may have. I think a white ribbon like a lacy one would have looked beautiful too. I just didn't have any. I'm going to take this little tiny wreath form from the Target dollar spot. They come 3 in a little pack for $3. I'm going to hot glue one right around the O. Then I'm going to take this leftover roses on this pick as well as the little leafy greens. And I'm going to hot glue the leafy greens first to fill in some of the gaps from the wreath. And then I'm going to take the roses and just hot glue them towards the kind of like right upper corner of the O. And that way it just looks nice and pretty. This frame I got at Dollar Tree. It had some decor on it. I used it for another DIY during the fall season. I'm just going to hot glue the love right on the kind of right bottom side. And I did mark where I needed to hot glue. That way I knew exactly where it was going to be glued at. And look how beautiful this looks. Talk about taking any simple craft that you find at Dollar Tree and making it your own. Love it. For the next Dollar Tree craft, I'm going to take another one of those canvases and I'm going to give it again 1 coat of Rust-Oleum chalk paint and the linen white and let it dry. This bundle of stencils is called Love Like Jesus and they're beautiful. They're meant to make these little tiny signs, but I ended up choosing one and I'm just going to place it towards the bottom right corner of the sign. I'm going to tape it and I'm going to use this Farmhouse Red chalk paint by Rust-Oleum. And again, I'm just going to show you. I'm going to grab some paint. I'm going to thin it out in the cap and then I'm going to use a towel to remove excess paint. And then I'm going to start just stenciling, doing the round and around motion, and that worked really well. Again, I mean, come on guys, seriously. All right, so now bringing in these gorgeous rub-on transfers. I found one that I thought would look great in the upper left corner of the sign. I cut it out. I'm just going to peel it from the back and then I'm going to lightly place it right where I want it. I'm leaving some space on the edges because I am going to frame this one. I'm going to use a scraper, but you can use whatever you want. Something that you can just start pressing on the paper or the plastic and start rubbing on. The technique that I've learned to use is basically you just want to rub on and lift very little, very slowly until all the transfer has transferred to your surface. Just like that. I did decide to add a couple other ones here and there. And look how pretty this is looking. It's so romantic. I love it. All right, so now onto the framing. We're going to use those same flat dowels. Again, we're just going to mark, cut, and hot glue all around the edges. And we're just about done with this one. Such a beautiful, romantic look this sign has. I love the red and the white, but let me tell you, these transfers are gorgeous. I love all the detail. Just so great to make custom signs. For the next craft, I'm going to take this little wooden house that I got at Target dollar spot. It came in a set of 2, I believe. And this one had a brown tone. So I'm going to lighten it up with some Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. And I'm going to do a dry brush technique because I do not want any paint to drip on the inside of the little windows. Although a little bit got in there, but using the dry brush technique really helped. So I'm just going to keep adding layers until I have what I want. I left the sides brown because I wanted to have more of a farmhouse distressed look. Once I had it dry, I am going to take this other rub-on transfer with the roses design. I picked this one because it has a flat side that's going to look great on this house. So I'm just going to keep placing it and just kind of keep moving it up until I see where I love to see it. I'm going to press it down and then again, we're just going to rub it on and lift the plastic slowly but surely until the entire transfer is transferred. Now with this one, because the little windows are on there, I did have to grab an X-Acto knife and just cut off the little excess transfer that you see there so that we can still have that window look. Once I had it where I wanted it, I took my sanding block and I am going to sand down the edges as well as the design to give it a little bit more of a distressed look. And let me tell you, these rub-on transfer distressed beautifully. I loved it. I kind of kept the same green look going vertically. And I loved it so much, I decided to add one more. So I grabbed a smaller one and I added it to the other corner, rubbed it on, removed the plastic, and did the same exact thing. I just sanded it down on the edges and distressed the top very lightly. And this gave it such a beautiful distressed look. I love how romantic it feels, and it looks perfect for Valentine's Day or any time of the year, really. I would love to know what you think of this one. Let me know down in the comments. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, I'm going to take this wreath form. It is a wire, it is heart shaped, and it's a pretty good size. I'm also going to take one of these towels from the automobile section at Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut them into strips. If you have fabric scissors, this is the best way to cut these towels. My regular scissors were not doing a good job, but fabric scissors are awesome, and I do have these in my Amazon store. I cut the strips to about 2.5, maybe some of them 3 inches. No need for them to be completely even. I'm going to start wrapping the wreath form all around. There's no magic to this, no special technique. Pretty much just make sure that all the seams are on the back of the wreath form. That way it's going to look nice and clean in the front. And then I'm just going to cut off some of those back little corners just so that it's cleaner. You don't need to because they're in the back, but just so that it's a bit more smooth and clean. I'm going to take these faux ferns from Dollar Tree and I'm going to grab 2 of each color. They have like a lighter color and a dark color. And I'm going to place 2 facing down and 2 facing up on the left side of the heart. I'm going to then take this beautiful flower, also from Home Goods, on sale. I grabbed a bundle, and this one is left over from Christmas, and I just hot glued it right in the center. Doesn't that look so pretty? Then I'm going to take this little grassy picks. I'm just going to take 2 of the little grass, hot glue them to the top and 1 to the bottom. This is just going to add a little bit of touch of greenery. This heart is stunning. It's definitely my favorite from today. Has such a romantic look to it. Beautiful. For the next Dollar Tree craft, I'm going to take this wooden heart sign from Dollar Tree and I'm going to remove the little black portion from it very carefully because I do want to reuse it. I'm not going to remove the paper from the front, but you can do that if you want to. I'm just going to sand it down using my electric sander. It's quicker and it just roughens up that surface and it keeps it very matte because we are going to give it a couple of coats of paint. So I'm just going to wipe it down really well and then give it 2 coats of Waverly chalk paint in the white and then of course let it fully dry. I am then going to bring in these printable that I got and I printed here in a laser printer. Now I have never attached or transferred any color printed graphics on anything. I've always used Mod Podge with just like a black and white design. So this is going to be a first for me. Let's see if it works out. I'm going to apply some Mod Podge. This is after I remove the excess paper from around the design. Once I had the Mod Podge where I wanted it, I'm just going to place the design, making sure that I smooth out any bubbles and that it is as attached as possible. My mistake was that I did not give it enough time for it to dry, and you're going to see here in a minute what happened. But I'm going to put it to the side and let it dry. The little black board, I am going to paint in that pink again from Rust-Oleum chalk paint. I'm going to give it 2 coats. This is just going to add it to the design, some color, and it's going to look so cute. All right, so here's where things go a little south. I'm going to use the wet rag, and I'm sure you've seen this before. You just want to wet the surface with a damp towel and just start removing that top portion of the paper and revealing the design. Because I did not give it enough time to dry, it did remove a lot of the design. It was my fault. I should have left it for a few more hours, but I just wanted to rush it. I was impatient. Now, I am going to make it work because it does have a distressed look, and I do like that look. Although I was not planning on it, we're going to make it work. So I removed as much as possible from that paper. Then I'm going to take a permanent marker, and I'm just going to write the word Valentine's right on the little pink board. Simple. I'm going to hot glue it to the bottom of the heart. That way it has the same kind of look that it had originally. These beads I already had on hand. They were already stained this color from previous projects. Some of them are brown, some are yellow, some are blue. So I'm just going to start creating some sort of pattern that kind of matches the amount of beads I have. I'm going to thread it through the top just like I did with the bead garland. I'm going to just thread it through the first bead and tie it and make sure that you do not see that knot. And I did the same thing on the other side, and that's it for this one. Now, I gotta say, I kind of like the way it turned out. I was gonna add some florals, but I said, you know what, let's just leave it like this. I think it's so, so cute. For For the next Dollar Tree craft, I'm going to take this canvas style sign from Dollar Tree. You can find these all the time in the picture frame area. So I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to give it 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white, and of course let it dry. Then I'm going to take this round brush. It's kind of like a waxing brush. I'm also going to take some Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the country gray, and I'm just going to make some stripes going from top to bottom. The stripes are going to be about 2 inches apart from each other. And then I'm going to bring in one of the Dollar Tree decals. You know, I love using these decals. They're so wonderful to use. And this one has a beautiful scripture. There's one of my favorites. And it's about love, so I thought it was perfect. I'm going to place it to the right side of the sign. And that's it. Such an easy craft anyone can do. And you can use any color combination you want. This will look great with pink lines as well. I love the scripture, love the feel of this one. And I would love to know what you think of it. Let me know down in the comments. Another frame that I found at the thrift store was this cool white one. It's really long and narrow. And although I like the grandkids fonts and the style, it's just not quite my style. So I am going to redo it. It was $2.99 and I thought it was a great deal for the size of it. I am going to remove the stickers from it. Although I'm not going to keep the glass, I still wasn't sure if I was going to do something with it. So I kept it. I'm going to remove the little clips, but I'm not going to actually pull them out. I'm going to keep those where they are. I'm going to remove everything from it, including the glass, and I'll put that to the side. I am going to keep the white portion board because that's going to be our background. I have this leftover contact paper that I used for a recent project. I'm going to cut it in half, and then I'm going to cover the board, simply just covering it. You had me at hello, 'cause where you go is where I go. Once I had that nice and trimmed, now it's time to work on the frame. I'm going to give it a good scrub. It did have some mini scratches, and although it looks white, it actually was a little bit off-white, so I want it to be a little brighter. I'm going to add 1 coat of Waverly chalk paint in the white. The 1 coat was plenty sufficient. Once I have it covered, I'm going to let it dry. While that dries, I am going to measure my board here. It is 28 inches wide. I'm going to find the middle section and mark it on my cutting board there. That way I know where my center is. I'm going to use these Dollar Tree moss balls that I already had on hand. I had 2 packets, and that was enough for the word love. I'm going to spell out the word love. I think it would be so cute, very natural looking, and also perfect for Valentine's Day. I'm going to measure both ends to make sure that both sides have equal amount of space and everything looks nice and even. I moved the E a little bit in, and now I'm just going to start hot gluing each moss ball. I'm going to start with the E and the L because they're on the outside. Then I'm going to spread out the O and the V as needed until everything looks nice and even and hot glue those in place. I wanna do what you want to. Now it's time to just add the board onto the frame. Once again, it's just going to be placing the little hooks and pressing them as low as they can so that the board is not wobbling on me. I'm going to remind you what the frame looked like, and this is what it looks like now. It's fresh. It's so lovely. I love it. No pun intended. Oh yes, pun intended. Let me know what you think. And I am going to transform this farmhouse truck. I'm not going to pretend you haven't seen like about 100 versions of these farmhouse trucks, but I'm going to give you one more idea. I am going to cut a piece of the wrapping paper to fit the truck, and then I'm going to cover with some masking tape the little rails portion. I'm going to spray the top of the farmhouse truck with some adhesive spray, and then the piece that I cut of wrapping paper was actually backwards, so I had to cut another piece. Placed it on top, and now I'm just cutting off the excess paper from all around the edges. I'm also going to poke where all the little like wheels and the windows are. I love this technique. You take a lighter just like this and you just very carefully, of course, burn the edges. They're going to burn just all the way up to the edge of the wood. This has to be done in a ventilated place. Make sure that you have water near you. Just take all the precautions as needed. But the effect that it gives it is stunning. It burns all the way down to the edge, and it gives it this burnt vintage antique look that I really love. Look how stunning that looks. I'm going to take my X-Acto knife. I'm just going to cut off that top portion where the masking tape was and just going to remove it. Look how pretty it's already looking. You can leave it like this with the brown tone. I did decide to paint it white. I'm just going to use some Waverly chalk paint in the white. And then I'm going to use some antiquing wax by Waverly. And I'm just going to antique it just a little bit all around the edges. This is just going to add a little bit more character. And it's also going to match the style overall. I'm going to take these little cute little flowers. I believe I got these. I don't think it was at Dollar Tree. I think it was Walmart. I'm just going to cut a couple little branches and hot glue them to the back of the truck. That way it's going to look like the bed of the truck is filled with these beautiful flowers. I'm going to cover the back with some masking tape just to make it a little cleaner and smoother. Then I'm going to take my little nail filer here. I'm just going to smooth off just those little flaky edges just a little bit. I'm going to add a couple of these wooden blocks from Dollar Tree behind each tire. That way it's going to be able to be standing up. And I love this one. I cannot believe how beautiful it looks. Such a beautiful decor to add to your Valentine's Day. For the next Dollar Tree craft, I'm going to take this galvanized heart I found in the crafting section. I removed the tag, and then I'm going to take this beautiful wrapping paper. It has this beautiful pink tone with these hearts on it. And I'm going to cut several strips of about 2 inches. I'm not too worried about them being exactly 2 inches. I'm just going to cut several strips as close as possible to the same size of each other. I'm going to join them together, and then I'm going to cut them in pieces that are 4-inch wide. I'm going to stack them up, and then I'm going to take 2 at a time, and I'm just going to face them back to back, and I'm going to fold them and just kind of scrunch them on the bottom to make a little something like this. Then I'm going to make a whole ton of them because we are going to start hot gluing them inside the heart. The key to this is to make sure that you are hot gluing them as close to each other as possible. But don't stress if you can see a little bit of the galvanized in between. We're going to fix that in a little bit. So I'm going to add the last one here, but as I mentioned before, you're going to see a little bit through those, and you're going to see some of those galvanized. I'm just going to add a few here and there, right in between where you see the little gaps, and a little bit of hot glue goes a long way. Then I took these little flowers, same ones from earlier, just another little branch. I'm going to take off the leafy greens as well as the flowers, and I'm going to start hot gluing each little flower bud in between here and there the paper. This is just going to add a beautiful touch. And then I'm going to take the greenery leafy part, and I'm going to cut them into separate little leaves. And then I'm just going to hot glue them here and there to add that vibrant touch of green. I think the green really made a huge difference. It's just stunning. I left the jute string, but I think ribbon will look beautiful. Look how stunning this looks. It's definitely one of my favorites from today. I love the vibrant pink. Stunning. For the next Dollar Tree craft, I'm going to take 3 of these galvanized hearts that you can find in the crafting section of Dollar Tree. I grabbed 3 because I have a plan for them. Look at this beautiful wrapping paper. Wow, this one is stunning. I'm going to open it up. I'm just going to place all 3 hearts right next to each other, and I'm going to trace them. Nothing perfect, really just tracing them. And once I have them traced, I'm going to cut each and every one of them separately. Again, not looking for perfect cut because we are going to make these hearts smaller than what they already are. Once I have them cut, I'm going to fold them in half, and then I am going to cut about a 1/2 inch inside of the edge of each heart. This is going to give me a smaller heart, nicely cut, that's going to fit right in the center of the galvanized heart with a nice edge showing. I am now going to take the Gorilla adhesive spray once again. I'm just going to spray the back of the paper of each heart. And then I'm going to place them in the center of each galvanized heart. I'm going to just lightly press it. And then I'm going to start from the bottom up and just kind of fold and press in between each ridge. That way we're going to keep the beautiful design that these galvanized hearts have. And it's very easy. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other 2 hearts. And now that I have them done, I'm going to flip them over and I'm going to set them one on top of each other, just like you see, just about 2 inches apart from each other. Then I'm going to take this beautiful lace ribbon from Dollar Tree and I'm going to hot glue it all the way from the bottom to the top. What I'm going to do on the top here is I am going to fold it just like that, just loop it. I'm going to cut off the excess and hot glue it to itself. This is going to give me a portion on the top where I can hang the decor from. Look how beautiful it already looks. I'm going to take these roses from Dollar Tree and I'm going to cut 3 of them. I'm going to take the leafy part portion first and I'm going to hot glue it on the top of each heart. I'm going to take the rose apart and then I'm going to cut off just a little bit of the remaining stem of the rose and hot glue it on top of each leafy green. Again, that green really just makes this beautiful touch of color, and I think this one is just so beautiful. It is quite large, and I just love that these galvanized hearts at that beautiful shape. I just think it's stunning. For the next Dollar Tree craft, I am going to take these wooden shelf. You can find these in the picture frame area, and I'm just going to cut off a piece of the same rose wrapping paper and I'm going to start tearing the sides. I love using this technique. I'm going to use the same wooden shelf to guide me because I want it to look torn but not too much. So I'm just going to do the same thing on all edges. That way all of them are going to have that nice torn look. I'm going to dry fit it just to see if I need to cut more, and I did. The sides were just a little too snug, so I'm just going to cut about another 1/4 inch, and that did the work. I'm going to bring in some white paint. This is just going to paint the edges. I don't need the whole thing painted because you're not going to see the whole thing, but you are going to see those edges. So I'm just going to paint it with some white Waverly chalk paint and let that dry. I'm going to take these wooden numbers from Dollar Tree. I'm going to grab number 4, number 1, and number 2. This is going to be for February 14th, which is Valentine's Day. I'm going to paint him in this beautiful green color by Bear, and I am going to just let that dry. 1 coat was sufficient. I'm going to take some Mod Podge, and I way overdid it. I don't know what I was thinking. I weighed too much on it, but I did grab a little towel, and I just removed the excess. I don't know what I was thinking. I just took my time very patiently, and I just got it until it was nice, thin coat. Once I had it where I wanted, I'm just going to place the paper right on top. It did get some bubbles. I have lost my battle with Mod Podge. I don't know what to do, but I have learned to just appreciate the bubbles. I flattened them out as much as I could, and then I took the 2, the 1, and the 4, placed them to the bottom right. I'm going to hot glue them in place, but I'm going to leave a little space in between the 1 and the 2. And that is about it for this one. What a beautiful concept. I love having the 2, the 1, and the 4. I think it's just very clever, very subtle. And I love the paper, and I love the way it looks. For the next wrapping paper hack, I am going to take this thrifted flag sign that I found at Goodwill, and I'm just going to sand it down just a little bit because it had a little bit of a rough edge to it, just a little bit of a rough feel. I'm going to paint the edges just like I did the previous one. This one's going to be a little bit like the previous one, but I'm going to show you something different. I'm going to take this beautiful wrapping paper. Now, this one's not from Dollar Tree. I did find this one at, I think it was Home Goods. It was such a great quality, and the design was beautiful. But you can do this with any Dollar Tree wrapping paper. I'm going to mark kind of like with my fingers where those edges are, and then I'm going to tear again. Again, I said that it's going to be similar to the one before, but this time I'm not going to have anything guide me. I'm going to tear it up, literally. I want these tear to be thick, very torn. Once I had it where I wanted, I'm going to add Mod Podge once again. This time I was very careful. I just added it until I had a thin coat, and then I'm going to place it just like I did the other one right in the center. I got bubbles in this one again, even using the little roller. I don't know what to do, but in the end it turned out fine. I'm going to add some Mod Podge on this one right on top to seal it. This wrapping paper is thicker, so I want it to be nice and protected. Once I had it in place and all dry, I am going to sand it down. This is going to give it a little bit more of the distressed look, farmhouse look. I did end up distressing the edges just a little bit more with my sanding block. Once I had them in place, I'm going to take these beautiful little flowers that I got at Dollar Tree and some greenery, grassy ones, and I'm going to place them right in the center. I'm going to drill a couple of holes on each side of the bundle. I'm going to thread some jute string so that we can tie them on the back. Once I had it in place, I'm going to take some burlap ribbon. I'm just going to make a very simple bow. I'm going to loop it, scrunch it in the center. I'm going to tie it with some jute string, and I'm going to angle cut the legs. I'm not scared to take a chance. Yeah, I'm so happy that I found you. And you know when you know that I'm yours. I'm going to hot glue it right where the jute string is, and this is just going to add a nice touch and also hide the jute string. I'm going to cut off the excess stems from the bottom. I'm going to add a sawtooth hook to the back of it so that we can hang it. And that's about it, my friends. What a beautiful way to reuse this picture. I love the flag, but I wanted to do something different with it. How romantic, neutral, love it. All right, this Dollar Tree heart is beautiful as is, but it's not the style that I'm looking for. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to actually turn any decor from the Dollar Tree into beautiful decor that matches your style. So I'm going to start by removing the galvanized love. I'm doing it very carefully because this is very thin metal and it will bend. So if you've worked with this, you know what I'm talking about. So I removed it. I was very successful, surprisingly. Now I'm just going to remove all these leftover little pieces of paper and just remove any sheen from the heart. I like using my palm sander. It just makes things so easy, so quick, but you can certainly do this with a hand sander, like a sanding paper. I'm going to dust it really well, make sure it has no remaining dust. And now I'm going to give it 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. But this part that I'm painting here is going to be my back part. I'm just not going to use it, but I do want it to have it look clean and pretty. This is going to be my front side. So this side is going to have the 2 coats, and I'm going to do coats in different directions so that I get a nice texture to it. I'm going to let it fully dry, and then I'm going to sand down the edges just to give it a little bit more of a distressed look. It already had a little bit of a distressed look, but I just wanted to give it a little bit smoother look. I'm going to take my square here and I'm going to start making some lines. We're going to plank this heart using a permanent marker, and I'm going to tilt it just at an angle like you see there. And I'm going to use the width of the ruler to actually be the size of my planks. This is so easy. You can make plans in any direction, sideways, vertical, and an angle, whatever you want. And I love the look. So now we're going to take that love. I did spray it with some black matte spray paint. Now I'm going to spray it with this top coat to ensure that it's not going to scratch off. Before I apply the love, I'm going to use one of these ribbons. I get these little bundles at Hobby Lobby. You can get them at different places actually. And I'm going to take this one that's kind of wavy and thread it through the hole and then make a knot in the back. All right, now we are going to start adding some hot glue to the galvanized love, and we're just going to apply it in the center. I'm going to give it just a little bit of a tilt. I think that's going to look super cute, and that's it. So easy. But we are going to apply some florals here. This is a peony that I already had on hand from maybe a year ago, a couple years ago. I use them all the time, and I love their look. So I'm just going to hot glue the leaves first to kind of like make sure they're not covering my love there. And then we're going to hot glue the peony there right on top. That's it. So simple, so easy, but look how beautiful this looks. You can use any florals you have at home, and for just $1 or $1.25 depending which Dollar Tree you're going to, I think it's a great deal. For this next DIY, I am going to start with one of these larger canvases from the Dollar Tree. They come 2 in a pack, and they're just really easy to work with. They're large. I love the look of them, but I just wanted to give it a little brightness to it. So I'm just going to add one pretty quick light coat of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white, and then let that dry. Now I'm going to take this wooden planked heart from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to remove the jute string from it, and then I'm going to remove each plank. So I want all of these to have a separate, just to be separated. So I'm just going to carefully do this. Again, this is not real thick wood, so you want to do this very carefully. If it comes off some of the paint chips in the back, that's okay. It's no big deal. As long as the front looks fine, you are fine. I'm going to take some of this Waverly ink paint. It is beautiful, so pigmented. Only one coat was needed. I'm going to paint the heart, all the heart in the same color. Now I'm going to take some of this burlap ribbon and I'm just going to, again, tape it to the back of it. I'm going to tape it twice, actually, one on each bottom, and then I'm going to do it again on the top so that it is not kind of tilting on me. So then I'm going to take one more of those Dollar Tree decals. This one I had used the bottom portion of it, but I still had the Be Grateful portion of it, and I thought it would be perfect to add vertically on the right side of the sign. All right, now it's time to attach the hearts. This was actually really fun. It was like putting a puzzle together. I'm just going to hot glue it in place, but I'm going to dry fit it first and then add quite a bit of glue to the back of it just to make sure it attaches nicely. I'm also making sure that the space between each plank is equal so that way it looks professional and beautiful. I'm going to add some of these greeneries right to the top, one little branch facing each side, and just a little bit hot glue went a long way. And I'm going to take some more of that ribbon, and I'm going to make a very simple bow, tie it in the center with some jute string, then hot glue it right to the center, and then we're done. Such an easy, simple one. I love, love, love the way this one turned out. I think it's one of my favorites from today. I just love the planked look, and it's just so large. It's larger than the rest, and I just think it looks really professional, very beautiful. For the next DIY, I'm going to use another one of these hearts. This is a little bit different one, but it's also from the Dollar Tree. So cute. It is so cute as is, but again, we want to give it a different look. I'm going to remove the red ribbon as well as sand down all the glitter from the top, wipe it down very well, and give everything 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. I am now going to take this wooden love word from Dollar Tree as well. I was excited when I saw this one. So beautiful. Now I'm going to take some napkins and I'm going to separate it into one ply. I was hoping the napkins were the same, like black and white design all around, but it turned out they were just in one little side, one little square, and that's okay. I'm just going to cut off the little square and I'm going to then do this about 3 times, enough to cover the entire love. And once the surface was completely covered, we're going to do the same exact technique that we did earlier. We're going to take the lighter and we're going to start burning those edges. I got to tell you, this is so fun and so satisfying. It really just stops right at the edge. Just make sure you have, again, water near you and that your area is ventilated. But how fun. And just keep burning, again, all over the edges as well as in between the letters where it needs it. So fun. Okay, now the heart is dry. We are going to plank it once again. This time I'm going to use my yardstick and they're going to be wider planks. So easy. We're going to do them kind of like at an angle, but vertically. And then we're going to hot glue the love right on top. Look how beautiful this combination looks. This does not look like it came from the Dollar Tree. My friend, look how stunning. I'm going to use another one of those ribbon. This one is just a simple white one. Thread it through. I'm going to knot it, and that's it. For this DIY, we are going to take one of these wooden hearts from Dollar Tree and some of these wall decals with beautiful soft pastel colors, and they're like succulents. And would you believe that one of them was actually shaped like a heart? Yeah, it was split in two. You see, like the front was the half of a heart, and then the back was the half of the heart. And I thought that was so cute and perfect for this wooden heart. Once I had the heart completely covered, now I'm going to use my sanding block, and I'm just going to sand off the edges until the edges are nicely smooth. This will help it be very flush to the end. It's so much easier than cutting with scissors. Then I'm going to take one of these larger flat canvases from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to kind of sort of dry place the heart there to the left side of the board. And then I'm going to take these Be Grateful wall decal from the Dollar Tree, and I am going to just place it to the right side and just kind of align it to where it's going to look nicely, and it's going to be vertically. And then I am going to hot glue the heart to the left side of the Be Grateful. Today's video is going to be using mostly Dollar Tree items, especially going to show you how to use those wall decals that you can find at Dollar Tree. They're beautiful designs, different kinds of sayings, and I think they're just absolutely gorgeous. Look how beautiful this one is. I added a teal burlap ribbon, and I think it's just stunning for spring. Dollar Tree sticker DIY craft. I'm going to take this beautiful craft paper. Now, this came out of a book that I got. I believe it was Hobby Lobby or Michael's. And I'm just going to fold it that way. So we're going to turn it around into like a diamond shape. And we're going to fold the bottom corner all the way to where it goes about 2 inches past the midsection. I'm going to use my scraper to really fold it very tightly. And then I am going to take the sides and I am going to fold it inwards, making sure the bottom aligns and making sure that the corner goes just past that middle section. Same thing with the other side. We're going to create an envelope. Fold it, make sure it aligns, and that it goes past the middle section, just like that. We're going to do the same thing to the top. We're going to bring it down, we're going to fold it, and then use the scraper to really make sure those creases are nicely folded. Open everything up, and now we're going to cut those middle sections where both folds met. We're going to cut that off because we want those corners not to be so bulky. So I'm going to do the same thing on all 4 sides. And now that they're cut, it's going to fold very nicely and it's not going to be so bulky on the sides. Now we want to trim some of these edges here. So these are just the 2 sides. We're going to trim some of the top. We're going to go from the corner to where it meets the top portion of the envelope, and we're going to cut that off. Again, we're just cleaning off edges and sides. That way it's going to fold nice and pretty. I did the same thing on the other side. And now when you fold it, it's just going to look nice and clean and very neat. Now we want to remove that middle portion. So once I have it folded, I'm just going to mark with my pencil. And we're going to remove that portion again just to clean it off. You can use an X-Acto knife, but scissors work really well. Now that it's folded, it's looking so nice. All right, so now we're going to take some double-sided tape. I get this at on Amazon, but you can find at Dollar Tree as well. I'm just going to fold it onto itself, and the 2-sided tape, it's going to hold it in place. So just add tape wherever you need it, making sure that it's not going to glue to the inside of the envelope, just the outside, just like that. Once again, we're going to clean up some of these edges, just make them nice and neat. And we're going to remove some of the sides of this, and we're just going to cut it again with the scissors. Now it's time to add something on the inside. Now I wanted to add maybe like a letter or something to it, but I decided to just go ahead and grab one of these doilies, Recently, I did a Christmas video and it had doilies and I had some left over. I'm going to cut one of the smaller ones in half and then cut off one of the sides to make it nice and flat so it fits inside. This is just so that we can add something on the inside, but by all means, you can add a letter. You can add anything you want to the inside. You can even add florals, which I think would be gorgeous. I'm going to use the same double-sided tape just to secure the doilies in place, and it looks so chic. I love it. All right, so now we're going to bring in this beautiful sticker set from Dollar Tree. It has just so many designs. This would be great for scrapbooking or even card making. So I'm going to take the one that says heart and I'm going to place it right there in the center of the envelope, looking gorgeous. Holy moly. All right, so now we're going to poke a hole to the top with my hole puncher and we're going to take some of this lacy ribbon from Dollar Tree. We are going to make a very simple bow. Again, we're going to keep it pretty simple. Once I have it in the shape and size that I want, I'm just going to cut off the ends and then we're going to thread more ribbon right through the hole, make a very simple knot in the top, and then we're going to hot glue the bow right underneath the little hole. That way it'll be nice and simple and so sweet and beautiful. This is one of my favorites. I love the craft paper and that heart sticker is stunning. It has a metallic golden look. Love, love, love. What do you think of this one? We are going to start with this wooden heart and we are going to pair it with a beautifully designed napkin. We're going to remove the jute string from it and then we're going to lightly sand it. Often these wood pieces have like a rough texture to them, so just a light sand would do its work and then wipe it really well. We're going to paint it white, but you can use any color you want, whatever style you need to complement the napkin you're going to be using. So we are going to give this one just one coat and let that dry. We're going to bring in this beautiful napkin. It is gorgeous. I love that it has that floral design, perfect for spring and summer. We're going to open it up. Now, if you have a multi-ply napkin, just remove all the plies, leaving only the top design on it. Now that the heart is dry, we're just going to lightly sand it again and wipe it really well, removing any dust. We're going to use Mod Podge for this project, so if you have Mod Podge, get that out. You can use any one you will have. I do have a matte, which is my preferred one. I'm going to add it all over the heart, just giving it a nice, kind of like a medium to thick coat, and then we're going to place the napkin right on top. Just find the angle of the napkin that best matches whatever you have and whatever you're going to be covering. So I'm just going to take my time and very carefully pull and flatten as I go. Now napkins are very thin, so we want to make sure that we're treating it very lightly. Once it was attached, I'm just going to take my braille and I'm just going to start flattening it out as much as I can to remove the bubbles. And then we are going to sand down the edges using the soft grit on my sanding block. You could also use an X-Acto knife, but sanding it downward really helps to remove that excess paper and leaving smooth edges. For the tight corners, I like using my nail filer because it gives it the same effect, but it can get into smaller spaces. These little wood cutouts you can find at Dollar Tree year-round. They have these for Valentine's Day. We are going to take one of them. They come 3 in a pack. Really cute. And we're just going to hot glue it towards the kind of like middle right side of the heart, because we are going to add some florals to the top, so we don't want to hide it. Once it's attached, it's time to add some ribbon. Now, Dollar Tree has out some cute ribbon, beautiful colors for Valentine's Day, and I'm just going to take this felt one. It's kind of like a velvety, I guess. We're just going to cut a piece, and we're going to hot glue it to the back. Now, nothing fancy. It is a light piece, so you don't need to tape it or anything. I'm just going to hot glue it, and that would be sufficient. We're going to flick it back to the front and we're going to start adding some florals. These are just some greeneries that I have on hand from years and months, and I just pulled them out. These are my spring and summer stash, and I'm just going to start adding some in different directions, but they're all going to originate from the upper left corner of the heart. Now that I have the greenery in place, I'm just going to start adding some of these pink lilies. Again, from last year's stash, I'm going to add a couple of them, and I think they really complements the design of the heart overall. And this is such an easy craft that anyone can do with minimal expense. What do you think of it? Let me know down in the comments. For For the next Dollar Tree DIY craft, I'm going to start with this foam heart. You can find these at their Dollar Tree currently for Valentine's Day. I love the size of it and I love how 3D it is. So I'm just going to take everything off of it and then I'm going to take a ribbon from Dollar Tree. Now these are from their Easter selection. They already have them out front, so get on it. Go to Dollar Tree and find these beautiful items. All right, so we're going to cut off a piece. I would say it's probably about 15 inches long, give or take. I'm going to poke a hole with my scissors right at the top of the heart, add some hot glue, and we're just going to thread in, just push in that ribbon right there. We're going to add a little bit more hot glue and then add the other end. We're going to create a hanging heart, so we want to make sure it's nice and secure. You want to do this before you add the napkin, okay? So now for this one, we're going to use this beautiful plaid style napkin. I love the colors. We're going to start with 4 of them. I did add a lot more, but we're going to start with 4 and we're just going to start stacking them one on top of each other. Now I made the mistake of leaving the plies on it. I would suggest just remove the plies before you cut them, okay? Because I did have to remove a lot of the plies because it was kind of like separating as I was adding them to the heart. And I'll let you know as I go. You'll see. All right, so now that I have them stacked, I'm just going to cut them in little squares or rectangles. It does not have to be perfect, friends. Just do it in whatever size you want. I'm going to take a razor part of the pencil and I'm just going to start placing them in the center and just scrunching it, just like you see there. Adding hot glue and then adding it with the pencil. I'm going to keep doing this. Now, I started with placing the pencil on the white side of the napkin. I changed my mind later and I started doing it on the design portion because I wanted to be able to see the design more. So just keep that in mind. And again, I just removed any plies that were kind of flaring off as needed. I did this until the entire heart was covered. It takes some time, but it is so worth it. Just put some music on, maybe a movie on the TV, and just keep applying. It's fun. All right, so the heart is covered and we are just going to start trimming whatever you want to trim, okay? You just want to keep that shape of the heart. If you're doing anything else, just do it. It doesn't matter. But I think it turned out so beautiful. It's a little time consuming, very, very much worth it. I love the color scheme. But what do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. DIY craft, I'm going to take one of these Dollar Tree Plus wooden signs. This one is gorgeous. I don't remember how much it was because I did remove the price before, like once I got home. It was either $3 or $5, but it's such a good size. Now this is the napkin I'm going to be using. What a beautiful springtime design. Again, I'm going to remove the back ply and just reveal just one front portion. I am going to paint the board white, but keep in mind you can do whatever color you want. Just depends on what napkin you're using. I'm going to give it one coat of the Waverly chalk pen in the white, and I'm just going to put that to the side and let it dry. Now I'm going to cut off just the design of the bottom napkin. So that way we're just going to be Mod Podging the actual designs. And I'm going to pull off both designs because we're going to put one on the top as well as the bottom of the board. I'm going to lightly sand the surface just to make it nice and smooth once it was dry and then remove any dust. Now again, we're going to use Mod Podge, so I'm just going to add it liberally to each side and start applying the napkin very carefully, removing as many bubbles as you can, but don't stress about them. And then we're going to add one more coat of the Mod Podge right on top, flattening everything out and sealing it. And we'll do the same thing on the top one. I let that dry for a few minutes under a fan and it is perfectly set. Now I'm going to remove the excess napkin from the corners using my nail filer, and it wasn't too much, but it did smooth out some of those edges. And then I'm going to take my sanding block and I am going to sand down smooth some of the roughness that sometimes it leaves. That way it's going to, two things, smooth it out as well as give it a tiny little bit of distress. These heart-shaped wooden stickers are at Dollar Tree currently in their Valentine's Day section. Love, love, love these. I'm going to create a little, kind of like a banner style. So I'm going to take some jute string. I'm going to attach it to the back using hot glue as well as masking tape and leaving enough give in the front so it looks like it has like a little loop to it. So just to make sure you do that. Did the same thing on the other side. Now the little hearts, I have red ones, pink, and wooden tone ones. Because the design of the napkins didn't have any red, I'm not going to use the red hearts, but I am going to use the pink ones and the wood tones, and it really complements the sign very nicely. I did have to switch in sizes here and there until I decided what kind of looked right. You can see that I added a larger one to the other side. I didn't like the way that looked, so I just removed it and replace it with a smaller wood tone one, and I think this is gorgeous. If you have a Cricut, you could create a graphic and add it to there, maybe something that says springtime, whatever you want. What do you think of this one? I'm going to take this fabric. This fabric was sent to me by burlapfabric.com. It's been a while now and they sent me a whole ton of it. So I still have some left over, but I'm actually going to use everything I have left for this next project. I'm going to cut it in different size strips, but really they're all about the same size, but there's no right or wrong. I just want them to be a little bit more on the rectangle shape, and they're going to be between 5 to 7 inches and then between maybe 3 and 4 inches wide. Again, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to keep cutting until I run out of fabric. Once I have all the fabric cut, I am now going to take this leftover wreath form. This was one of those wire wreaths from the Dollar Tree. I had used the other like circular forms for other projects, and I had this one left over. I cut off those little parts that were sticking up, and then I opened one end. What I want to create here is a heart-shaped wreath. So I am just going to bend it on the one end, and then the other two ends, of course, is going to be the upper part of the heart. So we're not going to attach it yet, because what I want to do is now place all the fabric. I'm going to fold them in half and then thread them right in through the fabric. Now the fabric has a very kind of like a threaded, meshy kind of texture, I guess. So I am going to just, you're going to see what I'm doing here. I'm just going to fold them and thread it through. Now this project would have not taken any more than 10 minutes. However, because this wreath form had those little things sticking out, you know, where the ones I cut off, it was getting stuck there. So it took me about 20-25 minutes, which is a little too much longer than what I like to spend, but the end result was so worth it. Back to what used to be home, passing by those little towns I know so well, stopping for gas. So once I had all the fabric threaded, look how cute this wreath is looking. It's time to just join the two ends and then give it that heart shape. I am going to use some wire to just wrap it around, and then I left a couple of the fabric squares out so that I can thread them after I'm done joining the two ends. That way I can hide the wire. Now this wire was a little bit, or the wreath wire was just a little bit too flimsy. I think looking back, I would have loved to have something that was less just flimsy, you know, it was so that it's not wobbly on me. So it did attach well to the wall, and you're going to see it at the end. I also, one other thing that I did was every so many fabric squares, I did add some hot glue so that when it is placed on the wall, gravity would not pull all the fabric down and then you have bare spots. Does that make sense? So just every so often I would put some hot glue, that way each fabric would just kind of stay where it needed to be. I didn't do it on all squares, but I did do it on some of them. And there's the end result. How beautiful is this wreath? I love how neutral farmhouse style it is, but yet it has that romantic Valentine's Day flair. Driving is like a spiritual cleanse, where every mile is a new beginning and every bend holds a new end. So for this next DIY, I am going to take 2 of these large paint stirring sticks. I am going to cut off right where that little curved area is. And then I'm going to use 3 scrap ones that I had left over from another project. And I'm going to build a little ladder. It's going to be like a little, it could be decorative. It could be used in the kitchen for some towels, whatever it wants, or in the bathroom actually, whatever you want to use it for. But it's so easy to build. So I'm just going to, again, cut off those curved areas from the 2 large sticks and I'm going to do the same with the smaller ones. I will have a little bit of that curve left over, but it's no big deal because we're going to cover it up using some jute twine. The jute twine that I'm going to be using is from Walmart, but you can certainly use anything you have on hand if you want to recreate this. The way I'm going to attach them is I'm going to first attach them with hot glue, and then I'm going to use the jute twine to kind of crisscross it around, giving it the effect or the illusion that it is being held by the jute twine and not hot glued.
Could you hold my hand, look me in the eyes? You and me, yeah, that's each other now. I promise I won't leave your side. Be who you are and you'll be enough. If you're giving me your love, giving me your love. All that we have is each other now. Promise you won't leave my side. I hope who I am is enough for you. If I'm giving you my love, giving you my love, love. Tell me what you wanna do. I'll do anything.
Now that everything is put together, I am going to give everything one pretty heavy coat of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white, including the jute twine. I know it's kind of unusual to do so, but I wanted the second part of this DIY to really stand out, which is why I am painting over everything.
As long as I can be here with you, everything's alright. I'll be right here. I swear that I'll stay here with you. Hold me closer. I wanna stay here with you. All that we have is each other now. I promise I won't leave your side. Be who you are.
For the second part of this DIY, I am going to take a wreath from the Dollar Tree and I am going to tie on 4 spots, 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top. This is because I am going to cut the wreath in half and I don't want all the branches to come off of it. So I want it to stay as intact as possible.
If you're giving me your love, giving me your love. All that we have is each other now. I promise I won't leave your side. I hope who I am is enough for you. If I'm giving you my love, giving you my love, love, love. Give me love, give me all your love, give me all your love. Give me love, give me all your love, give me all your love. Give me love, give me all your love, give me all your love.
Once I have the 2 pieces securely tied and cut, I am going to attach 2 of the ends, just like you see here, crisscrossed, and I am going to attach it, crisscrossing it several times until it's nicely secure with some jute twine from the Dollar Tree.
I would be up waiting for you if you had to leave. I would wait a lifetime if you were at sea. I just wanna say that I feel that our love is real. Maybe we should hurry up and seal.
Once those top portions are securely attached in a crisscross form, I guess, I am going to now try to manipulate the rest into a heart-shaped. Now, I'm not sure if I actually conquered what I wanted to do, but I think I got it close enough. But I did have to keep moving it and pushing it. I did end up having to put some hot glue on the bottom portion and then with more jute twine attach it so that I can have as close to a heart shaped as possible. Once this was done, it was time to just hang it right off of that little ladder I created earlier. And I think this turned out so cute. It actually can be used with any other wreath form as well, so it can be used year round. But this, just for Valentine's Day, I think is so stinking cute.
Our love is real. Maybe we should hurry up and seal the deal. Oh, oh, I just wanna love you right. Oh, oh, love you till the end of time. I just wanna hold you for forever. Every day you're making me better. 'Cause a love like this is rare. And I wanna take you there.
All right, so for this next DIY, I am going to take this empty, it's just an empty bottle of lotion. Somebody gifted me this last Christmas, and it emptied out. It was wonderful, and I love the shape and the color of this bottle. I cleaned the inside, and I also cleaned out after I removed the sticker around it. And then I cleaned it out, as you saw there, with some alcohol wipes. That way it's nicely clean. Using my Cricut, I cut the phrase "above all else, love," and I also cut out a heart shape. I am going to place it right on top of the bottle.
You say take me on a treasure hunt. I long for something new. Have you heard the fairies when they sing and dance?
To cover up the thread portion of the bottle, I'm just going to wrap it with some jute twine. That way it has a little farmhouse flair to it, but also cover the thread portion of it.
Oh, I wish it was me every night. When I close my eyes, I see.
I am going to use these lamb's ear that I get at Walmart. I love their lamb's ear. It comes 2 for about $1.98 each. And it's just, I think it's just a great deal. I'm going to also use these little baby's breath that I thrifted so long ago. I have a few left over, and that'll be it for this one, guys. What an easy DIY, and it just looks so romantic, but yet with that farmhouse neutral color tones.
Beauty lives in me. I know I don't yet know it, so I trust you when you say that beauty lives in me too.
Alright, so for this next DIY, I'm going to take this piece of paneling I got at the hardware store. It was part of a larger one that I got at the scrapwood area. I've cut a few pieces off, and this is one of them. I am going to give it 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white.
Look out, here she comes. The woman that I love. It's too bad she'll never know. Yeah, I can't tell her how I feel.
I am going to lightly distress the edges, just very lightly, and that's all that I'm going to be distressing.
Someone who makes her happy. I'm a ghost in these walls.
Alright, so now I'm going to freehand the phrase XO. Appropriate, right? For Valentine's Day. I thought about using my Cricut, but I figured I am going to freehand it because I like to challenge myself, and I know not everybody has a Cricut. Plus, I love that it looks so, you know, that brush stroke look. And then I just signed it because one time I did a freehand something. I can't remember. And somebody said, you should always sign your pieces of art. So there you go. But look how beautiful. So simple. Such a simple project.
Look out, here she comes.
For this next DIY, I am going to take this Target Dollar Spot heart. It is actually a chalkboard. It also came with that cute little key. I'm not using on this DIY, but I will keep it for a future DIY. And then I removed the sticker once again using my heat gun. Once again, I'm going to use one of those peonies as well as these Dollar General. Oh, what are these? I forget what they're called, but you know what I'm talking about. They're beautiful. They actually have like a frosted kind of look to them. I'm going to snip all the branches off of it, and then I am going to take a pipe. You see it right there in the corner. It's like a pipe holder. And once I have them all scrunched up and in the style that I want it, I am going to take that pipe holder and I am going to place it right over all the stems, all the florals, and secure it in place with a couple screws.
No doubt. Baby, you and me like a broken beat, trying to find a rhythm, hit a dead end street. How we got to here is a mystery. Love moves like a river flows. No one knows where it goes. Let's make it last but a
And now using chalk, I am going to write the word te amo, which means I love you in Spanish. And we are done. And I think this one turned out, again, so chic, so beautiful, and such a quick DIY. Love it.
I'm so tired of this, so soft. Turn it up a notch. Let's show 'em what we got. Let's make it last. This is too good to lose. Baby, we can kick this blues. Honey, break the beat. Oh, that's all
I'm going to take another piece of the palette board and I'm going to cut it into two pieces that are equal in size. I would say this is about 12 inches in size each. And then I am going to do some maintenance here because some of these nails were sticking out, so I'm just going to cut them. I just want to make sure that these boards are as smooth as possible and safe to the touch. So I'm just going to hammer and cut as needed, and of course sanding is a must, so I'm going to sand them really, really well. Once I have the boards smooth and nicely even, I am going to place them next to each other. Here I'm just looking to see which side I want up and which side I want down. We're going to create a rustic picture frame. I did one maybe about 2 years ago. It was similar to this one, but I'm going to make this one a little bit different. I'm going to take it was one large painter sticks, and I cut it into two pieces. Then I'm going to wood glue it and brad nail it to the back. That way I can have the board as one board.
I have seen that face more than a million times, like a million times. I have seen that, baby. I can treat you right and you can prove me wrong. Turn around, be gone. Turn around now, baby. You think you're special like the others, something to discover. Think you're little fun.
I'm going to take one of my husband and my picture from our wedding day, and I'm going to place it in one of these paper, it's kind of like a cardboard picture frame from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to tape it on the back to secure it in place. Then I'm going to place that on top of the board that I just created, and I am going to thumbtack it to the board. Now these are upholstery tacks. You can get these on Amazon, at Joann Fabrics, at crafting stores. They have them. I already had these on hand, so I'm just going to pre-drill a hole with a very thin drill bit and then hammer the tacks in. And after that, we are all done. What an easy and beautiful way to use these palette boards. I love how romantic this is. Perfect as a gift for your loved one. What do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. Or this next DIY, I'm going to use this board, and it's from another DIY that never sold in the fall. So I removed everything that I had put on it, and I just kept it like this. But some of the blue, you see it here, kind of bled through. It's kind of light on the camera, but I don't know if it was from the fabric that I had on it for the fall decor, or it was the original board. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, I'm going to give it a fresh white coat of paint, and then we're going to get started for a new one. So one light coat of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white was sufficient, and then it dried really quickly. Then using my Cricut, I cut out the scripture that says, "We love because he first loved us." I love this scripture, and I'm just going to place it towards the right side of the board. And of course, I am going to place the scripture where you can find it and right underneath it. Now, If you notice, the W is missing the middle part. I have no clue how that got off of there, but I did find it. So later on, well, in a little bit, you're gonna see I replace it and put it right back on it, and it looks fine. But I was just wondering, how did that come off? But anyways, mystery. All right, so then I am going to, like I said, add the scripture to the bottom of the phrase.
Did you ever stop and think why spend too
Now,
much?
this wreath I recently thrifted. It was only 99 cents. I think it's so beautiful and already had this shaped. So I'm going to take some screws. These are some darker color screws that really blend in well. I'm just going to start screwing it right from the top onto the board. And this thing is snug on there. This is not going anywhere. And thankfully, the screws were long enough where it was able to tighten, but not go through the other side, which is perfect. I love it. And then I did add two sawtooth hooks to the back of it so it could be hung. And then that's it. What a beautiful sign. It's definitely one of my favorites from today. Love the scripture. What a perfect story for Valentine's Day, because the true story of love first starts with Jesus. So love, love, love this one. Let me know what you think. I have another video here for you to watch with tons more of spring DIY crafts inspiration. Check it out. I'll see you later and have a blessed day. Bye.